The presidential hopeful Barack Obama has upset unionists by supporting the campaign of the Finnegan family for a full independent inquiry into the murder of Pat Finnegan almost 20 years ago. The Ulster Unionist leader, Siraj MP, has accused Senator Obama of bending to the will of Irish America without knowing the full story. And the TV leader, Jim Allister, says Mr Obama should have more sense. To get to the bottom of this, let's talk in New York to Niall Stanage, who's writing a book on the Obama campaign. Niall, thanks for coming onto the programme. It's hard to imagine that Senator Obama has time to get into the minutiae of Northern Ireland. So just explain to us how it gets to the point where he can be said to be supporting the Finnegans' demand for a full inquiry.
Well, Noel, the core of this issue about the Finnegan Inquiry is really a questionnaire that was sent to the Obama campaign by a couple of Irish American groups here. And when that questionnaire came back, it basically said that Obama supported the recommendations that had been made by Judge Peter Corey, which obviously included, as you say, an independent inquiry. Now, what I would add as a sort of caveat to that is that, as you've alluded to, presidential candidates do not have a great deal of time to dwell on these matters when there are 1,000 other challenges facing the United States at the moment. And, you know, these things are often sent out to interest groups or to ethnic groups, and basically campaigns, I think, try to go as far as they can in pleasing or appeasing that group without getting themselves into trouble, obviously.
So when Siraj MP says that the Senator doesn't know the whole story, it's possible that he wouldn't know, or his campaign team wouldn't know, that there is, in fact, the government has said OK to an inquiry, but it's the nature of that inquiry that the Finnegan family is not happy with.
That's right. I mean, there are these sort of intricacies of Northern Ireland that I wouldn't necessarily expect Obama to be familiar with. That's not to say he absolutely isn't, but there have been at least a number of occasions during this campaign where similar questionnaires have been supposedly filled out by staff members, and Obama has actually distanced himself from the position that has been put forth in his name, saying that people misunderstood or didn't at least understand the nuances of his position.
So would it be your understanding that he would be loath to abandon, as unionists claim he might be prepared to abandon the traditional even-handed approach of White House policy?
I think that above all, what we have to say, for good or for bad, is that Northern Ireland has slipped down the totem pole of American politics in terms of its importance a great deal in the last few years. Now, I think that to say that Obama will abandon even-handedness, I think, is probably putting it a little bit too far. I simply would think that he wouldn't put massive priority on Northern Ireland, but I don't see any sense that he is in some way becoming more radical than say, Bill Clinton would have been when Clinton famously granted a visa to the US for Gerry Adams at a time when that was an extremely contentious move.
Neither of the two candidates has made a specific appeal to the Irish America vote. I suppose that's another sign of the falling down the totem pole of the importance of Ireland.
I think so, and I think also the Irish American vote is something that I personally am very sceptical of. I tend to think that people in our profession will sometimes exaggerate the importance of that when we're talking to Irish audiences. Firstly, people of Irish heritage here are almost indistinguishable, generally speaking, particularly in their voting behaviour, from just regular Americans. And the Irish lobby, so much as it exists here, by which I mean Irish-born people now resident here, is very small in number and doesn't really have that many votes behind it. What they can do is create a kind of media rumpus if things don't go their way, or alternatively, give praise to candidates who they think have spoken to their concerns.
We've also, of course, had the row about the Envoi. Would there or would there not be a special presidential envoy? Has that been resolved to everyone's satisfaction on that side of the Atlantic?
I think it has. There is still scepticism in that small Irish lobby that I'm talking about, because they overwhelmingly backed Hillary Clinton in the Democratic primary, and they feel that Obama hasn't reached out to them to the same extent. Now, the point about the envoy was that he initially came out with this statement saying that he was going to examine whether an envoy per se was necessary or whether a senior sort of point person would be sufficient. The Irish American activists got very exercised about that, and then a panel was set up of Irish advisors, and then it did come about that he would say he was going to put an envoy forward. I'm not sure that it matters a huge amount, but it certainly quietened down that lobby to some extent.
The clock is running down, Niall, and it seems in the debates we witnessed, both the presidential and vice presidential debates, neither side has scored a winning hit. I mean, what's the mood with just, a couple of weeks to go?
I think that at this stage, your point about the debates is very well made. I think that particularly in the second debate, which happened on Tuesday night here, John McCain really needed a convincing win in order to change the momentum of this race. The momentum is favouring Obama. In opinion polls, he has, basically his largest lead of the campaign at the moment. The consensus would be that McCain didn't get that win. If anything, Obama shaded it, and certainly McCain didn't win that debate. So now we face a few weeks of, it would appear, the Republican side going very much more aggressively against Obama in terms of his personal history, and they'll see if that can work to erode the opinion poll lead that he has at the moment.
Well, Niall, it's all going to get much more exciting before that first week in November. Thank you very much indeed for your insight.